Namaste. Namaskaram. Do you see? Do you see how this world is? If one conducts themselves with any modicum, the slightest amount of assurance, confidence, presence, or the malware, the virus of the program comes out, and you are branded a narcissist, a wannabe guru. Eres pobre porque quieres, way. All right, folks, enough dramatics aside, we shall continue on with our studies. The colors of Armageddon, dos. Angels, los ángeles de muerte. Welcome to the exposition of the ancient scientific ideas coming from the angel of death. Surely by now you have noticed that our message is geared toward and from sensorial astrophysics, which translates to searching nature. Also, we want to credit for what we bring to your double mind. If your brains are wired only to accept evidence, please have patience with us. We can assure you that no one can provide the evidence you seek from a 15,000-year-old event. Well, you will have to trust your instincts, a gut feeling even, what have you. At the end of the day, this is a simple concept of philosophy that cares not about who is right, who is wrong. We only care that you get to realize that we, humans of Earth, are spirit and light, more than flesh and darkness. Therefore, trust us, it will be worth it. Our work is specific to alternative creation, unification of religion and alternative science. Physics and astronomy are our passion. We hope that you find both our nonfiction work and fiction books at Sexuality.com more than entertaining. They are linked in content, context even. They could be revealing. Searchers only need an open mind. This book is an alternative nonfiction, fantasy to some, mythology to many. But what is important is that the message goes through, just in case. The first thing you need to understand about the Ángel de la Muerte, the angel of death, is that we believe your religious beliefs, or the lack thereof, are sacred to you. And we would never try to change your mind on the subject. You keep what you killed. We just want you to hear our side of the human story, just in case. Again, we believe religious separatism is wrong, regardless. It solves nothing for the species. It only brings false hope, but the concept is embedded deep within the conscious of those who practice it, and hope makes it invincible. Truth is, there is no difference between a drug addict and a religious fanatic. They both crave an escape route from illusion, yet addiction and fanaticism are experiences, and that is what this life is all about. The idea here is simple. We want to find people belonging to different religions, the lack thereof, and then convince them to accept that this life is not even the beginning, that there is more out there, much more. It is that simple. The final product, under the natural God, under the premise that the first order of respect coming from the minds of the Manunaki of Earth must go to nature, is that above all else, we are about nature, the future of nature. We think of the human as a biological machine created by nature, but later modified by an intelligence whose smart criteria was to make a deal with our early ancestors, gold or supreme intelligence. However, there was no reason for them to use perfection on us. It was not required. All that was needed was a strong male to be used as hard labor worker and a tender female to be used as concubine and temple caretaker. After this work here on earth would have been completed, the Manonaki man made on earth, Adam and Eve and their descendants, us, would become the rulers of earth. Then God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth." At this point, thousands of years later, the Heavenians would have had come across the fruit of their earth harvest, simply because Manonaki would have had become very smart, and thus we would have eventually taken on space exploration, which we have. As kids, we used to love reading comic books. A friend of the Angel of Death named Freddy comes to mind. He was into Superman. One day he tied a towel around his neck, climbed on top of his house's latrine, and screamed, "Superman!" He jumped as if he could fly. He landed right away, right then and there, on top of a bunch of bricks. He broke his nose and needed stitches on his forehead. So you see, we can fly. Now we roll back a few thousand years, knowing that Manomaki's imagination can take you places. The Heavenian gods were very happy, but their astronomers discovered that the solar system was about to change stars, and that therefore the original biological being, the Murians, and the Manonaki species they had created from the Nibiru root were in danger of becoming extinct. The coming of the great water flood would take care of that. But Noah and his counterparts were told to save the Manonaki elite of the four races. That came to pass when the head of the dark side of the Heavenians found out about it. He became furious, but it was too late. It was time to go home. There was only one thing left to do for the dark side: force the Manonaki into self-extinction. Reinforce the Manonaki's double mind, already naturally infected with religious separatism and rage, with a new 3-virus law. One of these viruses is the skin color hatred command. Therefore, this book is super important to everyone, because no matter the color of your skin, the dark side has cursed your neighbor with the skin color hatred command, even if they are nice and act that way. Rather, what does this mean? That unavoidably by genetics and general terms, black people will be apprehensive among white people and yellow people, and so on. Yeah, unavoidably by genetic intervention as a hidden fact of life in general terms, white people will be apprehensive among black people, brown people, and so on. Yeah, unavoidably by the fact that we have many alien person gods as well as celestial gods in general terms as well. Yellow people will bow respectfully, but behind your back, they will not like black people, brown people, and white people. This is something most of us cannot escape from. It is no one's fault. We were made to be born in that way and pass our dark side enhanced hate genes to future generations. In this manner, we have a global hate-hate relationship, no doubt about it. You know it, and we know it. It is well and possible that whatever little bit of love we share might be coming from a distant past in which boy and girl were so close they shared the same heart. Undoubtedly by now, you already hate us. That's terrible of you. Do we hate you? Not anymore. Yeah, we used to. But after discovering that man must have had naturally evolved as the hateful Murian hermaphrodite, and later advanced to the Manonaki supreme intelligence while Earth was in orbit around Nibiru, we now have bigger fish to fry. You are too. We guarantee it. The Angel of Death has discovered that people have chosen to live under certain paradigms. Some of these paradigms appear to be wrong. You could be living a wrong existence, thinking, accepting, and believing in something that does not exist. We recommend that you consider accepting the Manonaki proposal of Hepesky.com as your personal and chosen mindset application. Why? Because there is no credible record of our origins among the accepted literature. From the time of Abraham, a set of scriptures has been passed down from generation to generation and from country to country. It was all good until the Assyriologists of the late 19th and early 20th centuries transliterated and then translated the Sumerian clay tablets and clay cylinder seal impressions discovered in the lands that used to be known as Mesopotamia of Europos. It turns out that the fundamental writings of the scriptures, such as the first verses of the book of Genesis, were copies of some of the writings on these tablets. This is a proven archaeological fact. Archaeology, a science, has put religion, a belief, between the wall and the sword. That fact represents a great problem for Anunnaki because the tablets are thousands of years older than the scriptures. This is a scientific achievement of considerable importance, an investigative mumbo-jumbo. The church's worth, crucifixion. Even worse than the shame regaled to it by current child sex abuse and celibacy breach cases the world over. The book of creation by the alien person God of the Holy Scriptures is a corrupted copy of the original document written by the intelligence from another planet and did so while Earth was in orbit around a dwarf dark star located far away from the sun. So, for Jews, Christians, and Muslims, where does that leave their current mindset? Where does that leave your current mindset? Organizations and people of influential nature in these matters and that now face cultural annihilation prefer no. Fight to keep this information hidden from you. Only from the bottom of the pot may the truth be propagated to the confused. Only in ways such as the Angel of Death, a work that comes from a nobody in the literature world, may the Anunnaki revolution start. Let this little angel sneak in. The idea is kind of awesome. And look, all this angel has done is to read between the lines of ancient science, ancient stories, the scriptures, and modern science. Oh no, the Angel of Death doesn't come from space or heavens or hell. He comes from prison. Forget conventional science. That will not help us. Papers, magazines, and TV scientists are only interested in prestige and paying their bills. Science is a controlled puzzle for them, controlled by their universities. Nature has been missing from their equations for more than 200 years. And here we are referring to the uncertainty principle. Science uncertain. That's an enemy weapon. The only thing we can do here is to take their main and most dangerous weapon away from their hands and then destroy it. To that effect, the people of Hespesky.com have engineered a sneaky solution to the Thomas Young's 1801 double-slit experiment nightmare for peer-reviewed scientists. Only thing is, light would have to move from the surface of the moon to the surface of the sun, not the other way around. Mother fee-sucking Christ. Forget religious segregation too. And here we are referring to religious separatism. That's an enemy weapon too. The one thing we can do here in our favor is to take their main and most dangerous weapon away from their hands, and then to modify it. To that effect, Hespesky.com has engineered a clever plan to reunite religion, but on a new, small, and liberated scale. If we want to survive Earth's astrological destiny, we must do these two things. A, rewrite science. B, perform a religious revolution. Make religion entirely different. Can't beat them? Join them. Then convert everything to the Nakriya doctrine of Hespesky.com. How hard will that be? Go there and find out. The result will be peace, no doubt. And that is what you seek while embodied. You know the promoters of the ancient but separated religions advocate the murder, the war, the hatred, the inequality, and the deception concepts coming from the scriptures. Why do you want to follow something like that? That is because these promoters are doing so without realizing it, and you are taking the bait without question. Again, that is exactly what the dark side of the Heavenians want. The angel of death criticizes the Heavenians, God's dark side, for implanting in our minds the religious sword of false complacency, and goes on to establish credible, peaceful, and acceptable concepts of religious unification. That is because we believe that the same prime objective of religious separatism is to cause us harm. There cannot be more than one God. There cannot be more than one religion. There cannot be war, only peace. So, if we can unite religion by removing the separatism factor, we will win. We will achieve peace for our Manonaki of Earth. But here is the thing. To unite religion, we first need to solve for human origins. That has been Hespeskis.com mission. We crown our 37-year research effort by submitting a rational human creation hypothesis together with an unorthodox scientific edifice explaining the role of the moons and the planets in God's heaven. Our goal is for you to believe in us, to join us. Otherwise, simply remove yourself from our lives. It matters to us none. Our goal is to form a group of Earth humans willing to break apart from the pack. Our goal is to submit a new form of natural adoration for nature, to take for the ride. Our goal is to develop new science by uniting matter and space. Our final task will be to culminate Hespesky.com with the publication of the discovery of the forces of the planet, the force of Lord Inki. Namaste, namaskara, Minki. The force of the planet's finding took place while we were in the process of solving for Jung's old experimental puzzle. As a direct consequence, we were forced to show the door to the uncertainty principle. Right now, we are told by our governments that we are alone in our universe, that the entire total of everything has no other life but Earth. The reason for that is that at the end of the day, powerful economic and corporate systems such as the Church, the Club of Rome, the Illuminati, and some billionaires wish us to remain ignorant of the true nature of Manonaki and the multiverse until the return of the Heavenian gods that from planet heaven to planet Earth came, which literally is what the meaning of Anunnaki, FYI. Our philosophy must be set to promote a union for all religions within our Manonaki gang, such that at least it would ring more convincing than prior art. You must admit that the separation of religion is no good for the world. You know that the separation of religion is a trick placed upon us by ancient powers to keep our nations fighting each other. Just look at the evening news. Every cannon fire, every rocket bomb, and every suburban mass shooting has religious determinants. Help us unite religion. It is the only solution while embodied. Let the Baha'i, Buddhism, Christianity, Confucianism, Hinduism, Islam, Jainism, Judaism, Shinto, Sikhism, Taoism, Zoroastrianism, and the other religions come together to pray in the same natural temple, the natural temple of the natural God. If this is the first time you ever heard of planet heaven, its meaning is simple. If the story of the Heavenian gods in Nibiru found on the Sumerian tablets is a true truth, which we support it is, heaven is a planet formerly of this solar system. In other words, the angel of death has come prepared to propose that both Nibiru and heaven were dear to our early ancestors. That we are dealing here with two off-world Earth worlds that have to do directly with our origins. Two planets that gave us in-body life and supreme intelligence, while it follows that Earth must be our adopted mother. If the lunar system known as Nibiru exists, and if the Heavenian gods came to moon Earth from one of her other moons, then heaven cannot be the divine fancy sky sanctuary preached by many religions as an ethereal location to go after you die. Be prepared to accept that heaven might be a planet or a moon. Be prepared to accept that if you worship a personified deity, this super person might be a giant human gold miner and scientist from another world. This world being planet heaven. Here is the beginning of what we believe we know. Before prior art, like before the last 10,000 years, we were somewhat more natural than deodorant-using humans. We lived in a continent of vast resources and beauty called Mu. We were natural hermaphrodites. This took place on Moon Earth, but it is also possible it took place on Moon Heaven. Regardless of original location, we were sailors and hunters. At one point, we had a simple language and writing skills based on symbols. We lived indoors to protect us from the cold of the moon. Our level of intelligence was akin to that of a medicine man of the deep jungle tribes of the Amazon forest. We understood nature in the way the prayer man of today understands the divine. Then the Anunnaki gold rush came. Today's religions are held in honor of personified creators and saviors. Just look at these relations. We see 12 alien person gods and 12 main religions. This is the testimony of separatism from the dark side of the Heavenians, the tool for religious antagonism from the dark side of the Force. This is the tool we need to destroy. We must annihilate the religious separatism from the galactic empire by uniting all religions into one logical and united monarchy of Earth humanity. So, as you can see, we have chosen to sustain a different belief for early humanity. This is before the Heavenian gods came to Earth. We have come to understand that there could have been an ancient form of religion, the one our early ancestors developed behind the fear and respect for Mother Nature. We claim that this form of early worship was embedded in their hearts. Thunderstorms, earthquakes, tsunamis, hurricanes, and even natural death, we believe, were taken as signs of anger from the environment. To negotiate for calm against these natural melodies, we imagine our forefathers taking a knee and staring at the sky to the moving lights, dwarf star Marduk, dwarf star Nibiru, and the star of turn Tiamat, thinking that these objects were celestial gods controlling the environment, to ask them for natural peace by uttering the same basic words time and again. Thus we believe prayer was born. Thus we see human religion was born. But please notice that this was one religion of many celestial gods, and like today, that we have many religions under one alien person god. Why? Because one day from the sky came an army of alien gold miners whose intentions were to deplete Moon Earth of its most precious of natural resources, gold. This alien army divided its operation into 4 separate missions. During the first 3 of these missions, Moon Earth was in orbit around Nibiru, and our world was not observing axial rotation, or as today science prefers to declare, Earth was in synchronous orbit. The same side of Earth was constantly facing the dwarf star. This side was known as the face of the earth. For the Lord God said, "Thy God is a jealous God among you, lest the anger of the Lord thy God be kindled against thee and destroy thee from the face of the earth." There was one last recorded mission to Earth by the Heavenians. This took place after Earth became to be in orbit around the sun. For reasons that we ignore, once near and around the new sun, Moon Earth, which now has been categorized as planet Earth, turned out to be larger than the Heavenians felt it during their first 3 missions when Earth was in magnet orbit around Nibiru. Not only that, but now on account of having Earth gain the company of Moon Kingu and thus actual natural satellite assisted axial rotation, our world rotated too fast for them. Moon Earth was closer to the current sun than Moon Heaven. The new heaven, too close and too hot relative to Moon Heaven, and thus life on the new Earth became a great burden for them. Remember, and there was a new heaven and a new Earth. Desperate to solve their planetary misfortune, the sky visitors activated Plan B, the Ark People Propagation Program. Once again, the dark side of the Heavenians asked the Anunnaki to populate the new Earth by using the Tower of Babel as a false flag. Again, we believe that this process took place at 2 different locations on the new Earth. We know that the gold mining efforts of the Heavenians was interrupted by the catastrophe, the last local planet Nova, that greatly affected the Murians' homeland and Atlantis. Much gold had yet to be taken, so the project was then moved to the lands of Europos in ancient Mesopotamia. We see that the Mesopotamian story of ancient Earth takes place after the new Earth centers an orbit around the sun. As for the new heaven, we are talking Nibiru, exiting our solar system and taking moon heaven with it, which explains why we cannot see Nibiru from the surface of the new Earth, as it used to be the case when new moon Earth was in orbit around it. Many religious leaders consider the sky visitors of the time of Adam and Eve as the creators of our universe and mankind. Only the latter case can be correct, and then only 1/3 of the way. First, most likely, humanity evolved on moon heaven, then transported to moon Earth and planted on the continent of Mu. Second, on moon Earth, the original Murian to Manonaki transformation produced no reproduction capabilities. Third, the successful and vital product was accomplished in Africa and hailed by the lead female surgeon as, "My hands have made it." To that effect, the sky visitors left notice for us on the ancient clay tablets of Sumer in Mesopotamia. Yes, if this information and the monumental ancient runes still seeding around the world are another true truth, a true myth, then we need to accept our origins as being from an intelligence of the sky giants and a natural of moons, heaven, and earth of the Nibiru lunar system. No other solution can be accepted by the angel of death. Take it, it's yours. We believe the multiverse, that is our Simeon scale, to be a simple system consisting of only 3 space parts. These space parts are the true empty, which Sir Isaac Newton referred to as absolute space, the cosmic microwave background, electromagnetic spectrum, or the ether of the twinon photons of our space pressure field hypotheses, regular matter. We believe we can master these 3 space parts to travel anywhere in the galaxy while embody and energize technology and thus life. After you read The Angel of Death, it is the intention of hespeciality.com to persuade you to come to terms with what we believe is our past. This will help us to modify our present and then chart a new healthy course for the future of our kids as the children of nature and sky god. A future to take flight among the clouds and Mother Earth with our air cities, while the children of your children search for a new beginning in the deep sky. Right now, however, we are mad at our secondary creators. They left us alone, religiously confused, racist, language impaired, and goldless. So, in this book, we will hammer them hard, but praying, as we dispose of our rage, that no matter their past erratic behavior, we forgive and accept them and expect them to be okay wherever they are. Thus, we begin the proceedings of hespeciality.com in the names of our fathers, brothers, of their sons and daughters, and their holy single soul spirits. They are the Heavenian gods, those who from moon heaven to moon earth came. Those who from moon heaven brought our early ancestors to moon earth. They fixed us. We are their laboratory children. We are the Holy Spirit soul pairs. We are Manonaki, man made of earth. So, apparently we have reached the end of our journey with this particular angel of death. About the author, he's a retired recycling engineer, a member of the Manonaki Order of Heaven, Earth Plus Natur, a forward-thinking individual. Hector is currently conducting research on floating air city development. Sky Hector is a former member of the Natural Philosophy Alliance created in the 90s by the late Dr. John Chappell Jr. Hector is also a former member of the John Chappell Natural Philosophy Society. The author is a retired recycling engineer, a Spanish-American Vietnam vet. He has 2 Heshes, a girl named Maria de Lourdes and a boy named Genesis. For further information on this author, please visit, and there's the URL right there. We did actually visit that the other day. And let's see, there's the photo of him. Very exciting book. I don't know about you folks, but I was, and here's, there's a little pictorial image. And there's the URL, HESPESKY.com. We visited the site a few videos back, remember? And it had a lot of exciting information. There's some of his other books. So, yeah, I mean, all I can say is that it's just a very exciting time to be alive. And there's really no cause for despair. If you take up this sword, if you take up this armor of truth and you wear it and you immerse yourself within it, you will find a new purpose. You will strike your fellow humans as possibly a religious fanatic, self-styled guru. Your confidence, your zest for life will possibly rub someone the wrong way and they will deem you a narcissist. But if those are the slings and arrows of misfortune that we must endure to march and unite the world, then so be it. Namaste, namaskaram.